Welcome back again. Sarah Rector was born on March 3rd, 1902, near Taft, which was a black town in Indian Territory in present-day Oklahoma. She was a descendant of African American slaves who had been owned by members of the Creek Nation, one of the 5 civilized tribes. After the Civil War, these former slaves, known as freedmen, were granted tribal citizenship, and later they were granted land allowments under the Dawes Allowment Act of 1887. After the Civil War, these former slaves, known as freedmen, were granted tribal citizenship. Eventually, land allowments under the Dawes Allowment Act of 1887 and the Curtis Act of 1898 would grant them land. These laws were designed to divide communal tribal lands into individual plots, with each member, including children, receiving a 110-acre allowment. At age 5, Sarah received her allowment, which was located in Glenpool, an area south of Tulsa that would later become part of Oklahoma's booming oil region. Her land was initially considered barren and unfit for farming. Her father, Joe Rector, was unable to pay the taxes on the land and petitioned to lease it to an oil company to avoid losing it. And at the time, the tax was $30 a month, which was a significant amount of money back in the 1900s, early 1900s. In 1911, the land was leased to the Standard Oil Company. And in 1913, an oil well was drilled that struck a gusher, producing over 2,500 barrels of oil per day. Sarah would begin to earn more than $300 a day, which is equivalent to about $9,000 per day in today's money in 2025. As her wealth grew, Sarah's financial situation became highly publicized. At just 11 years old, she was reportedly earning more than many prominent white oil barons. The Oklahoma legislature declared her to be a ward of the state and appointed a white guardian, T.J. Porter, to oversee her estate, despite her parents being alive and capable. At the time, it was standard practice in Oklahoma for a white man to be placed in control of wealthy black children's finances. This would be under the pretense that African Americans could not manage large sums of money at the time. Concerns arose nationally over whether Sarah was being exploited or mistreated. Articles appeared in the Chicago Defender and other black newspapers with headlines like, "Sarah Rector, Oil Heiress, has been kidnapped," though these were based on rumors rather than facts. In response to public pressure, prominent figures such as Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois began tracking Sarah's case. The NAACP, or NAACP, investigated and found that, despite concerns, Sarah was living in comfort and attending school. In fact, she was eventually invited to study at the prestigious Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, which was founded by Booker T. Washington. Additionally, she received numerous offers of marriage from white men, even while still a minor, due to her wealth. By the time she turned 18, Sarah was a millionaire, and she owned multiple producing oil wells, a fleet of luxury cars, and a large home in Kansas City's upscale 12th Street district known as the Rector Mansion. She also had significant real estate holdings in Oklahoma and Missouri, as well as investments in business ventures, stocks, and bonds. Her wealth allowed her to support her family, fund educational opportunities, and live a lifestyle that was extremely rare for many African Americans, especially a young Black woman during the Jim Crow era. In 1922, at the age of 20, Sarah married Kenneth Campbell, a Kansas City businessman. The couple would go on to have 3 sons. Although she was once one of the wealthiest African Americans in the United States, public records suggest that some of her wealth was diminished over time through taxes. Some of her wealth was also diminished through economic downturns and personal spending. Nevertheless, she lived comfortably throughout her life. Sarah would pass away in July 1967 at the age of 65. Please like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications so you get all my videos. Add me on all social medias. And until next time, peace, one love.
So catch me if I fall.